In the heart of America's fractured justice system, where a routine traffic stop can ignite a firestorm of rage and retribution, imagine this two-trigger happy cops gun down an innocent black man's beloved dog, sparking a vendetta they never saw coming. Because that man is no ordinary citizen, he's the deadliest Delta Force commander to ever walk the shadows of war, a ghost ready to haunt their every waking moment. If you're in the USA or UK, hooked on Pulse, pounding tales of vigilant justice, systemic bias, and unbreakable heroes rising from the ashes, smash that subscribe button right now and enable notifications. Join the thousands uncovering stories that challenge the status quo and demand accountability, before the next twist leaves you breathless. Marcus Harlan gripped the steering wheel of his weathered Ford pickup, the engine humming softly as he navigated the dimly lit streets of suburban Atlanta, Georgia. The kind of neighborhood where picket fences hid secrets and streetlights flickered like hesitant witnesses. At 45, Marcus was a man sculpted by shadows, his ebony skin marked by faint scars from forgotten battlefields, his eyes, deep, unyielding pools of obsidian, betraying nothing of the storm raging within. He had retired from Delta Force 5 years prior, after 2 decades of black ops missions that would make Hollywood scripts seem tame, leading a solo infiltration in the Afghan mountains to assassinate a Taliban warlord, extracting hostages from a Somali pirate den under heavy fire, and commanding a team that dismantled an ISIS cell in Iraq with surgical precision, earning him the moniker, Ghost, for his ability to appear and vanish like mist. But now he lived quietly, working as a mechanic at a local garage, his only companion Jax, a loyal German Shepherd mix he'd adopted from a shelter, the dog's warm brown eyes a balm against the nightmares of PTSD that clawed at him nightly. Jax wasn't just a pet, he was Marcus's lifeline, the one who greeted him with unwavering tail wags after long days, who slept at the foot of his bed, chasing away the ghosts of fallen comrades. On this humid August evening in 2025, with the sun dipping below the horizon and casting elongated shadows across the asphalt, Marcus was heading home from a double shift, a bag of groceries and a 6-pack of beer on the passenger seat. Jax curled up in the back, his head resting on paws as if sensing the tranquility wouldn't last. Blue and red lights flashed in the rearview mirror, piercing the dusk like accusatory eyes. Marcus pulled over methodically, hands at 10 and 2, heart rate steady from years of high-stakes ops. Comply, de-escalate, survive, the mantra every black man in America knew by rote. 2 officers from the Atlanta PD approached, Sergeant Derek Hale, a stocky white veteran in his 50s with a perpetual scowl and a history of complaints for excessive force, and Officer Elena Ramirez, a young Latina rookie, her uniform crisp but her eyes wide with the nervousness of inexperience. License and registration. Hale barked, his flashlight beam slicing through the cab like a blade. Marcus moved slowly, deliberately, reaching for the glove box, but Jax, ever the protector, lifted his head and let out a low, rumbling growl, sensing the tension coiling in the air. Control that damn dog. Hale snapped, his hand twitching toward his holster. Marcus murmured, easy, boy, easy, but Jax barked once, sharp and defensive, his hackles rising. Panic flashed in Ramirez's eyes. She drew her weapon first, shouting, "It's aggressive! It could attack!" Hale followed suit, and in a split second of fear-fueled chaos, 2 shots cracked through the night. Jax yelped, a gut-wrenching cry that echoed in Marcus's soul like shrapnel. The dog's body jerking before slumping lifelessly, blood staining the seat in dark rivulets. Time froze. Marcus's roar of anguish shattered the stillness. What the fuck did you do? But the officers were on him in an instant, slamming him against the truck, cuffs clicking tight as they yelled about resisting and threatening behavior. They claimed self-defense, that the dog had lunged, but Marcus knew the truth. It was prejudice, the knee-jerk assumption that a black man and his dog posed an inherent threat. Dragged to the precinct, Marcus sat in a cold interrogation room, the fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets, while outside, Jax's body was left on the roadside like discarded trash, eventually hauled away by animal control. By dawn, the charges were dropped, lack of evidence, body cams, malfunctioning. But the wound festered. Marcus buried Jax in his backyard under a sprawling oak, carving a simple epitaph on a stone, "Faithful friend, taken too soon." The local news barely covered it, a footnote in the evening broadcast. Police involved in animal shooting during traffic stop. Hale and Ramirez returned to duty, Hale even joking in the locker room about neutralizing a threat. While community whispers grew, another black life diminished, even if it was just a dog. But Marcus, the ghost, stirred. He attended mandatory VA counseling, playing the broken veteran, but at night, in his basement converted to a makeshift ops center with encrypted laptops and surplus gear from old contacts he planned. First, reconnaissance. Using skills from Delta training, Marcus tailed Hale and Ramirez discreetly, blending into crowds with urban camouflage, hoodies, baseball caps, the art of invisibility. He hacked the PD's database via a phishing email disguised as an internal memo, pulling personnel files. Hale's address in a gated community, his ex-wife and 2 kids, Ramirez's apartment in the city, her immigrant parents back in Texas. But vengeance wasn't rushed. Marcus wanted them to suffer, to feel the erosion of safety, just as Jax's death had eroded his peace. Twist 1 unfolded subtly. Anonymous packages arrived at their homes. For Hale, a photo of his daughter at school, timestamped that day with a note, "Eyes on you." For Ramirez, a stuffed dog toy, blood-red paint splattered on it. Labeled, "Justice for Jax." Paranoia set in. Hale installed extra locks. Ramirez requested a transfer. The department dismissed it as pranks, but Marcus escalated. He spoofed a call to Hale's phone, mimicking his ex-wife's voice with AI software he'd procured on the dark web. "Derek, someone's watching the house." Hale raced home, finding nothing. But his tires slashed the next morning. Ramirez found her patrol car vandalized. "Murderer," spray painted across the hood. Whispers in the precinct grew. Was it gang-related? A disgruntled citizen. Marcus listened via bugs he'd planted during a maintenance visit, disguised as a utility worker. One night, eavesdropping on their conversation at a dive bar, he heard Hale confide, "That dog's owner, the black guy, he gave me the creeps. Eyes like a killer." Ramirez nodded uneasily, guilt gnawing at her. Marcus struck harder. On a stormy Wednesday, he lured Hale to an abandoned warehouse with a fake tip about a drug bust. Hale's weakness, his ego for big collars. As Hale entered, flashlight drawn, Marcus materialized from the rafters, disarming him with a chokehold owned in hand-to-hand combat training. "Remember the dog you killed?" Marcus growled, knife pressed to Hale's throat. Recognition dawned in Hale's eyes. "You, Harlan." But Marcus didn't slit his throat. Instead, he zip-tied him, injected a non-lethal sedative, and left him naked in his own precinct parking lot, a sign around his neck, "Cop Killer," of innocence. Humiliation spread like wildfire. Hale was suspended pending investigation, but he stonewalled, claiming a mugging. Twist 2. Marcus turned to Ramirez, kidnapping her from her apartment using a silenced dart gun from his Delta arsenal. She awoke in a remote cabin in the Appalachian foothills, bound to a chair, facing the man whose life she'd shattered. "Why?" Marcus demanded, his voice a low thunder. Tears streamed down her face. "I was scared." Hale said to shoot if it moved. "I'm sorry, God, I'm so sorry." Marcus showed her files he'd uncovered. Hale's corruption, bribes from local dealers to ignore shipments. "Help me take him down and you live." Ramirez agreed, providing internal access codes. But Twist 3 blindsided Marcus. It was a trap. Ramirez had been coerced by Hale, wearing a wire during their confrontation. Marcus had orchestrated via leaked emails. As Marcus untied her, squat sirens wailed, converging on the cabin. Betrayal ignited fury. Marcus escaped through a pre-dug tunnel, booby-trapping the entrance with flash bangs that disoriented the team, injuring none fatally but buying time. Now a wanted man labeled, armed and dangerous, by the FBI, Marcus went dark. Tapping Delta contacts, a former teammate, now a private contractor, supplied fake IDs in a burner van. Media exploded. Veteran turns vigilante after pet's death. Protests erupted in Atlanta, Black Lives Matter banners waving with Jax's image. But deeper digging revealed Twist 4. The stop wasn't random. Hale was part of a rogue PD unit protecting a cartel smuggling opioids through Georgia ports. They'd tailed Marcus, mistaking his low-key life for a rival operative due to a tip from a corrupt informant. Irony bit deep. A war hero pegged as a criminal. Marcus infiltrated the cartel's compound, a fortified estate outside the city, using night vision and suppressed weapons, neutralizing guards with precision takedowns. Inside, he found Hale meeting the boss, El Jefe, a scarred Mexican kingpin. Gunfire erupted. Marcus dove behind crates, returning fire with deadly accuracy, bullets whizzing as Hale screamed, "It's him!" The ghost. Marcus winged Hale, but El Jefe escaped through a hidden passage. Pursuing Marcus cornered him in a basement lab, but Twist 5. El Jefe was Ramirez's uncle. Her transfer request, a cover to warn the family. Ramirez appeared, gun drawn. "Stop, Harlan! This isn't justice." A standoff ensued, philosophies clashing. Marcus's code of honor versus Ramirez's familial loyalty. Shots fired. Ramirez took a bullet meant for her uncle, collapsing. Marcus hesitated, the ghost's ruthlessness cracking at her sacrifice. He disarmed El Jefe, zip, tying him for the feds, but spared Hale, forcing a recorded confession instead. "We killed the dog to intimidate." The stop was a setup. Anonymous tip to the FBI, evidence dumped online. Hale arrested, cartel dismantled. Marcus vanished, but Twist 6. Months later in a quiet UK countryside. Relocated via X-Delta networks, he adopted a new dog, naming him Phantom. Peace. Elusive. A knock at the door. Ramirez, scarred but alive, seeking redemption. I owe you. Alliance formed, shadows lingering. Years passed, Marcus mentored her in covert ops, taking down corrupt systems globally. Final twist: Jax's death wasn't in vain. It sparked a national reform bill on police accountability, named Jax's Law. Marcus, the ghost, faded into legend, his story whispered in bars and barracks, a reminder that sometimes justice wears the face of vengeance. But in the quiet moments, under starry skies, Marcus whispered to Phantom, for Jax. The cycle of loss and redemption eternal. The warehouse exploded in a ball of fire as Marcus rolled away from the blast, his ears ringing from the detonation he'd rigged as a contingency. Flames licking the night sky like angry tongues, while sirens wailed in the distance, drawing closer with each heartbeat. He melted into the shadows of the industrial park, heart pounding not from fear but from the adrenaline rush that had been his constant companion in Delta Force ops across the globe. From the humid jungles of Colombia, where he'd single-handedly sabotaged a narco-submarine fleet, to the arid wastes of Syria, where his team had liberated a village from ISIS control, Marcus always emerging unscathed, a specter of death to his enemies. But this was different. This was home soil, where the enemies wore badges and the battlefield was the very system sworn to protect. As he hot-wired a parked sedan and sped into the night, his mind raced back to Jax, the dog's trusting eyes closing forever in that fateful moment, fueling a resolve harder than Kevlar. The FBI's net tightened, roadblocks, helicopters, K-9 units ironically deployed to hunt the man whose dog they'd killed. But Marcus evaded them all, using counter-surveillance techniques, switching vehicles in blind spots, doubling back through storm drains, even posing as a homeless vet to blend into Atlanta's underbelly. His old CO, Colonel Elias Thorne, now retired in Virginia, provided encrypted sat phone support. Ghost, you're stirring a hornet's nest. Pull back. But Marcus couldn't. The corruption ran deeper. Hacking into federal databases from a public library terminal, disguised with a fake beard and contacts, he uncovered Twist 7. The cartel wasn't just local. It tied to a national network involving crooked politicians, including Senator Harlan Graves, no relation but an ironic namesake, who funneled campaign funds from drug money. Graves had ordered the tail on Marcus after a whistleblower mistook him for an undercover DEA agent. Rage boiled, Marcus targeted Graves next, infiltrating his DC fundraiser disguised as catering staff, planting a bug in the senator's limo. Overheard conversations revealed plans for a massive shipment via Baltimore ports. Marcus intercepted it solo, boarding the freighter at midnight like a pirate of old, subduing crew with non-lethal force, chokeholds, pressure points, before rigging the cargo hold with C4 from his black market stash. The explosion lit the harbor, millions in fentanyl sinking to the depths, but Twist 8 Graves anticipated it, ambushing Marcus on the dock with private security. Bullets flew. Marcus took a graze to the shoulder, pain flaring like old war wounds, but he fought back, disarming one guard with a knife throw, snapping another's neck in a fluid motion. Graves fled, but Marcus pursued to his penthouse, bursting through the door to find the senator cowering. "Who are you?" Graves whimpered. "Justice." Marcus replied, forcing a confession on video ties to Hale, the cartel, the cover-up. Uploaded to WikiLeaks, the scandal erupted. Graves impeached, PD overhauled. But freedom came at a cost. Marcus was shot during escape, collapsing in an alley, blood pooling. Twist 9 Ramirez found him, having turned state's evidence after her death was fake to protect her. She bandaged him, whispering, "We're even now." They fled together to the UK, where MI6, owing Delta a favor, provided asylum. In London's fog-shrouded streets, Marcus rebuilt, training Ramirez in espionage. Their partnership blossoming into something more, trust, perhaps love. Yet shadows persisted. Hale, released on bail, hunted them, hiring mercenaries for revenge. Final confrontation in a rainy English moor. Hale's team ambushed, but Marcus and Ramirez turned the tables, picking them off one by one with sniper fire and traps. Hale faced Marcus man to man.
"You ruined me. You ruined yourself."
Marcus countered, sparing him again, for prison. Peace settled, Marcus opened a dog sanctuary, honoring Jax. Twist 10 years later, a young black recruit in Delta Force heard the legend of the ghost, inspiring a new generation. The story circled back, justice, not just vengeance, but change. Marcus's new life in the rolling hills of rural England was a far cry from the chaos of Atlanta, where the air smelled of exhaust and tension. Here it was crisp with the scent of hither and rain-soaked earth. Phantom, his new German shepherd pup, bounding through the fields with youthful energy that reminded him daily of what was lost and gained. He and Ramirez, now Elena Harlan after a quiet ceremony in a village church, ran a covert consulting firm for whistleblowers, using their skills to expose corruption without the bloodshed, though the past occasionally clawed back. One crisp autumn morning in 2028, an encrypted email arrived from Conal Thorne, old ghosts rising. Hale escaped prison, linked to a Neo cartel. Twist 11 Hale hadn't reformed, he'd rebuilt, allying with remnants of El Jif's network, plotting a bio-weapon release in major cities as revenge against the system that betrayed him. Marcus geared up, Alana by his side, Phantom trained as a detection dog. They infiltrated Hale's hideout in the Scottish Highlands, a fortified castle rented under false names, moving like shadows through mist-shrouded forests, avoiding patrols with thermal imaging evasion. Inside, they discovered the plot vials of engineered virus, set for dispersal via drones. Firefight ensued. Elena took out snipers from a ridge. Marcus breached the lab, confronting Hale amid beakers and humming computers. "You again," Hale snarled, drawing a pistol. "For Jax for everything?" Marcus replied, dodging shots and closing in with a tackle that sent them crashing through equipment. Hale fought dirty, stabbing Marcus with a shard of glass, but the ghost prevailed, subduing him with an arm lock. Virus neutralized, Hale recaptured. But Twist 12 the virus was a decoy, the real threat was cyber, a hack on power grids orchestrated by Graves' son, seeking familial vengeance. Marcus pivoted, hacking back from a safe house, Elena covering physical security as assassins stormed. Phantom alerted them, biting an intruder's leg, buying time for Marcus to upload a counter-virus, crashing the grid attack. Victory, but at cost, Elena wounded, hospital-bound. Recovery brought reflection. Marcus testified anonymously in congressional hearings, pushing for ghost protocols, reforms in military vet support and police oversight. Phantom grew, a symbol of resilience. Final twist in 2035, Marcus, graying but sharp, mentored a new Delta commander, a black woman inspired by his legend, closing the circle. The ghost faded, but his echo endured, a testament that one man's loss could ignite systemic change. Twists of fate weaving justice from tragedy's threads.